Today's episode is a special one, albeit one with a heavy heart. We just received the news that the legendary Shyam Benegal, one of India's finest filmmakers, has passed away.
Yeah, it's a big loss. His films weren't just cinema, they were windows into society, human relationships, and the lives of people we often overlook. To honor his legacy, we'll be revisiting one of his most remarkable films, Sardari Begum.
Sardari Begum is such a gem, isn't it? It's layered, complex, and beautifully crafted. A perfect example of Benegal's storytelling brilliance. For those who haven't seen it, Sardari Begum begins with a tragic incident. A woman is killed during a riot, hit by a stone thrown by an agitated mob. As the story unfolds, we discover that the woman, Sardari Begum, was once a renowned singer and courtesan.
What's fascinating is how her story is pieced together by her niece, Tehzeeb Abbasi, who's a journalist. Tehzeeb slowly uncovers Sardari's life through the people who knew her, and in the process realizes that Sardari was actually her aunt.
And this is where Benegal's genius shines. Each person recounting Sardari's life filters her story through their own biases and worldview. It's like a fragmented mosaic. No one version is the truth, but together they paint a vivid picture of Sardari as a complex, flawed, and fiercely independent woman.
That fragmented storytelling is so effective, especially in how it shows the marginalization of women's voices. Even when women narrate her story, like Uttara Baukar's character, you can feel the weight of societal judgment.
Right. And yet, Benegal resists making Sardari a hero. There's no overly sentimental scene where she's glorified or turned into a martyr. Instead, we get a nuanced portrayal of her struggles and triumphs.
And her relationships. They're so central to the story, whether it's with her daughter, her niece, or the people she encountered during her life. Benegal uses these connections to comment on generational shifts and how societal expectations shape women's lives.
Plus, the socio-political undercurrent is so subtle but powerful. The rise of the political right and the tension between tradition and modernity are woven into Sardari's story without ever feeling forced. Let's talk about Kirron Kher. She's extraordinary in this film. This is hands down her career best performance. Sardari is so many things at once: headstrong, vulnerable, proud and passionate, and Kirron brings all of that to life.
And then there's Rajeshwari Sachdev as young Sardari. Her energy and charisma perfectly complement Kirron Kher's portrayal of the older Sardari. Both of them deserved their national awards.
We can't forget the music either. Vanraj Bhatia's compositions and Arti Ankalika Tikika's singing are mesmerizing. Sardari's music is her identity, her rebellion, and her solace.
The supporting cast is fantastic too. Amrish Puri and Rajit Kapoor are pitch perfect, as always. Benegal had this gift of getting even the smallest roles to shine.
What makes Sardari Begum timeless is how it reworks the courtesan film genre. It's not just about the glamour or tragedy of a courtesan's life. It's about confronting the socio-political realities that shaped her existence.
Exactly. And yet it's so personal. Sardari's story is deeply rooted in her relationships, her art, and her defiance of societal norms. It's the kind of story only someone like Benegal could tell.
You know, as we talk about Sardari Begum, it's impossible not to reflect on Shyam Benegal's larger body of work. He was a master of telling human stories that were grounded, yet expansive.
And his films always had such empathy. Whether it was Mamo, Sardari Begum, or Zubaydah, he gave us complex women who lived life on their own terms.
It's fitting that we're talking about Sardari Begum today, because it encapsulates so much of what Benegal stood for: social commentary, nuanced storytelling, and a deep respect for his characters.
He may have left us, but his films will continue to inspire generations.
So, if you haven't watched Sardari Begum, make it a priority. It's not just a film, it's an experience, a reminder of what cinema can achieve when it's driven by purpose and heart.
And it's a fitting tribute to Shyam Benegal. Thank you for everything, sir.
That's it for today's episode. Share your thoughts with us, and let us know which Benegal film you'd like us to discuss next. Until then, keep celebrating cinema.